about my love. Wasn't it enough? Just let me know so I can hold.
Ashton Jeanty, a lot of people have talked about him at nauseum. And my only concern is why wasn't he able to take the top spot over a guy like George Helani last year? That's my only concern when I look back and say, and that's a nitpicky thing. But when he got the opportunities, the one thing I love about Ashton Jeanty, again, I don't like to measure this, but unless it's been proven, Ashton Jeanty will stay in there 90% of the snaps, catch a pass, get blown up on the ground, get blown up on the block because he's been out there 100% of the snaps at that point, on the ground holding his stomach, then gets up and runs for a 40-yard run downfield. Ashton Jeanty is an absolute unit and a tank of a human, man. I think he's an absolute beast, and I love everything about what he provides for a team. And I'm excited to see what he does at the next level. But I will say this: Ashton Jeanty has the highest bust potential and the biggest boom potential all in one. I don't think he should go to the Raiders. I don't think he should go to a system where he's not going to get the majority of the carries. I think he's going to get severely buried on the depth chart if you do that with him. So guys like Chip Kelly's system, if I'm a Raiders fan, I'm going Tyrone McMillan all day and not stunting the growth of this young man. If you're going to want to go with somebody that's going to split carries, then you got those Travion Hendersons and Quinshon Judkins of the world that are able to do that. Ashton Jeanty needs 90% of the snaps to be successful.
The boy Ashton Jeanty, when I look at him run, man, his ability to make guys miss and absorb contact, his contact balance is what's going to be referred to. It's like it's top notch.
Yeah.
You don't see many players who come out with such an excellent level of contact balance and pure strength as well, yet is still elusive. When you think of a bruising back who's able to absorb contact, you don't normally think of someone who's so nimble as to simply make guys miss and not even absorb any contact at all. But Jeanty can do both. And yes, he was certainly used a lot, right? So that can explain maybe his absurd 2,500 yards. But when you look at the advanced, the efficiency metrics, he's still tops in the class in all of these, right? In terms of yards per attempt, he's up there where very few other players are as efficient for him on a per carry basis. Yards after contact per attempt, right? Tops in the class. Missed tackles forced. He has forced more tackles than everyone in this class by far. And the only player who comes even close within 50 missed tackles forced of him is 𝗕𝘂𝘀𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀, right? Who I will say I have him at number 7, right? It's a loaded running back class. It's tough, right? I really have 3 through 10 here are very close for me. So this was a difficult position to break down. The one thing that about Jeanty that I think gets overlooked, because of course this past season is going to be, he's going to be looked at, evaluated ad nauseum. But I want to take a look back at his 2023 numbers in film, right? Where he was used much more as a receiving threat. In 2023, he had 44 receptions on 48 targets for nearly 600 yards, averaging 13 yards per catch and 5 touchdowns, right? And in terms of yards per route run, 3.19. If he had those numbers this year, that would be far and away the best out of anyone in this class. Yep. It wouldn't even be close.
Yep.
But this season, he finished at a pretty poor 0.53. So to me, that's all play calling. They just used him differently, right? The offensive coordinator did change this past season for Boise State. Jeanty was used differently, but it's important to look back at the older stats, the older tape. Why? Because if you look at just this year, he's going to be like he can't be used in the running or in the receiving game. He's not a receiving threat.
Facts.
But look at the stats, look at the numbers, look at the tape from last year, and you know he is a very dangerous receiver. And Dante, when we watched that film against Oregon, dude can block. Jeanty can do it all. So for me, yeah, he should be a bell cow guy. I don't want him to be a rotational piece, right, in a running back by committee. I want him to be a 3-down back every single drive if he can, right? So for me, right, I view him as a clear-cut number one guy. His usage rate is very similar to Amari and Hampton. When you look back at both of their careers, both of them were productive as in their first year, you know, as rotational pieces. And then once they both got the start, right, in their second season, they went off for each over like 1,300 yards.